Welcome, fight fans, to my channel. This is Johnny, and today we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning Isaac Pitbull Cruz and his power, specifically his last 5 knockouts. Guys, we know he's coming off the biggest win of his career this past weekend. They were the co-main event of the Tim Tszyu-Sebastian Fundora fight, and I'm talking about Pitbull Cruz versus Rolly Romero. It was an exciting fight while it lasted, and we are going to rewind the clock back to Pitbull's last 5 fights, including that Rolly fight, and talk about what happened, his style, and how Pitbull was able to get all 5 opponents out of there. Before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about some facts about Pitbull that we already know. He is 26-2 with 18 knockouts. Pitbull Cruz has a 69% knockout to win ratio. He's 25 years old and he's 5'4" with a 63-inch reach. The Orthodox fighter fights out of Mexico City, and his adoring fans call him Pitbull. He is the WBA super lightweight world champion. And like I said when I started this video, we're going to start with the Rolly fight and rewind the clock all the way back to the Alizar Carrillo fight and talk about their statistics of his opponents and how he got his opponents out of there. So all we have to do is go back this weekend, March 30th. He took on Rolly Romero for the WBA World Super Lightweight Championship. Rolly going into that fight was 15-1, and Rolly got knocked out in the 8th. Let's go back to September 4th, 2022, when he took on Eduardo Ramirez. Ramirez was 27-2, knockout in the 2nd. April 16th, 2022, he took on Yuriorkis Gamboa, who was 30-4 going into that fight, knockout in the 5th. October 31st, 2020, Diego Magdaleno going into their fight was 32-3, knockout in the 1st. February 16th, 2019, Alizar Valenzuela Carrillo was 18-10, knockout in the 1st. So you go back 5 years, 2019, up until last weekend, Rolly Romero. Pitbull Cruz has 5 knockouts. In the 5-year span, he's had 13 fights and knocked out 5 of them. He's gone 12-1, with his only loss was to Tank Davis. And having a career knockout to win ratio at 69%, 5 out of 13 isn't quite there. But like we always talk about here, as a fighter grows into their physique and gets to the top of the mountain in whatever division they're in, they're fighting the stiffest opponents possible. The only fighter to get Romero out of there was Tank Davis. Pitbull's style, he has his own version of the peekaboo style. It's a marauding style, pressure first, come forward. A lot of his opponents can't deal with that style. They can't deal with that pressure, and this is never more evident by looking at when he gets his knockouts. Pitbull Cruz will knock you out early. Ramirez 2nd round, Gamboa 5th round, Magdaleno 1st round, Carrillo 1st round. So when you talk about that Romero knockout in the 8th, some of the credit Rolly was getting was that he was able to take those shots and last that long, but Rolly isn't going to cheer that. He didn't want to get any brownie points for getting knocked out in the 8th instead of the 1st. Rolly wanted to win that fight. He just didn't have any answers for Pitbull. You can't be a power puncher like Rolly and fight off of your back foot. When you're backing up trying to land your power shots, it's not going to have any steam on them. You need to plant your heels into the mat, into the canvas, to spin and twist on your power through your hips. But if you can't answer the style of Pitbull and make him miss and pivot and keep him off you, it's not going to work. Thus his nickname. A great question now for Pitbull Cruz. When you look at the champions at 140, when you have Teofimo Lopez, Subriel Matias, Devin Haney, and now Pitbull Cruz, what's next for Pitbull? We know the aforementioned fighters all have fights coming up. Pitbull's in a good position coming off the victory, sitting back and watching. Me personally, I'll tell you who I want him to fight. I'd love to see a Pitbull Cruz versus Subriel Matias matchup, or just a round-robin tournament, basketball style. But we know with the sanctioning bodies, that is not in the cards. Who do you see Pitbull Cruz matching up with the best of the champions at 140? Let me know your answer in the comment section below.